Good morning, boss.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Thank God. How's the family?
Based out of Abuja. Yeah. And I also have the opportunity and the privilege to be the treasurer of the board of AfICTA. So today we'll be looking at cybersecurity and digital trust, safeguarding Africa's digital space through DNS security and data protection. And we have just about 1 hour, 15 minutes to go through this session. On the panel with me today, I'll be moderating the panel, and the panelists are Mr. Wisdom Donkor, the Executive Director of Africa Open Data and Internet Research Foundation, and also the Executive Director of AfricaCommunity Internet Program. Mr. Wisdom Donkor, if you're here, please say hello to us. Are you here?
Yes,
are you on the call? Yeah, thank you for joining the call. And we also have Ms. Toko Mia, who is the CEO of Girl Hype, South Africa. Thank you very much. Are you here, Ms. Toko Mia? Ms. Toko Mia, are you with us this morning? All right, so I'm going to go to the next panelist, the Dr. Akinbo Adebunmi, who is the CEO of DNS Africa Media and Communications. Dr. Adebunmi, are you on the call with us?
Thank you, Mr. Opeyemi. I'm here with you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Adebunmi Akinbo. And we have Dr. Robinson Tombari Sibe, the CEO of Digital Footprints Nigeria Limited. Dr. Robinson, are you on the call this morning? Dr. Robinson. All right. So while we wait for Dr. Robinson to probably join, I would like to introduce the final person on the panelist, Mr. Peter Akinremi, CEO of Compsoftnet Technologies Ltd. Mr. Peter, are you on the call? Okay. All right. So we're going to start by asking each of the panelists to please introduce themselves. I'm trying to see how I can find them on the or spotlight them. So, I would like to start with Dr. Adebunmi Akinbo. Would you like to please just do a brief introduction of yourself, your background, and then we now go into the objective. So I would like you to, if you can, put on your videos so that we can, engage with you better. Thank you, Dr. Adebunmi. Please introduce yourselves, and then we go into the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Opeyemi Onifade, for that welcoming statement. And I want to appreciate you for being early enough to accommodate us. Dr. Adebunmi Akinbo, for the record, I'm CEO DNS Africa Media and Communications. We're a media platform that do not take side and do not report negative issues when it comes to the issue of DNS. Fortunately, I'm based in Nigeria, somewhere I call a village around Songo, Abule Roko in Ogun State. I'm also a research expert when it comes to issues of the ICT in Africa, especially, and passionate about community development, capacity and consensus and exchange, so to say. I read psychology. I'm a media therapist, apart from being a counseling therapist. I look forward to the discussion on data privacy and DNS, especially when it comes to the area of cybersecurity, which, of course, a lot of Africans have come to understand that Africa is the target. And then finally, I love playing squash. I'm a martial arts black belt, and I think that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Akinbo. Hopefully, I will come and register for my martial arts training as part of my cybersecurity expertise as we go on. All right, nice to meet you, sir. Do we have Ms. Toko on the call? Ms. Toko, please, if you are there, you want to put on your camera, or if you're not, Mr. Wisdom Donkor, are you ready? Mr. Wisdom Donkor.
Yes, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you. Okay, go ahead, please.
My name is Wisdom Donkor. I'm the Executive Director for Africa Open Data and Internet Research Foundation, and also the AfricaCommunity Internet Program. And also, I'm the Executive Director for the Ghana Domain Name Registry. Aside that, I'm a technologist and also an internet governance expert based in Accra. I have extensive experience in internet governance, e-government infrastructure application, and DNS management, also cybersecurity and digital policy. I would say I have a very wide range of things I do within the tech space, and then I wouldn't like to take much time to go through all of that. Yeah, so this is me.
Very pleased to meet you, Mr. Wisdom Donkor. From your profile, I can see that we're going to learn so much from you this morning. Okay, Dr. Robinson Tombari Sibe, are you here? All right. What about Mr. Peter Akinremi? Are you on the call this morning? Mr. Peter Akinremi, are you on the call this morning? Okay. Shagun, can you confirm that we only have 2 of the panelists present so that we can take off the rest of the list? Shagun Kayode, can you please confirm?
Yes, we don't have Dr. Sibe with us, Ms. Toko as well. Both have earlier indicated they won't be joining, but for Mr. Peter Akinremi, he might be joining very soon. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. So we have on the call today, Dr. Akinbo Adebunmi, the CEO of DNS Africa Media and Communications. And it's a great pleasure to have from all the way from Accra, Mr. Wisdom Donkor, the Executive Director of African Open Data and Internet Research, and also Director at Ghana Domain Name Registry. Okay, so the session objective is to explore how Africa can strengthen cybersecurity and digital trust through robust DNS security, data protection frameworks, and collaborative governance models that ensure resilience and user confidence across the continent's digital ecosystem. All right, so I would like to start off by asking Dr. Akinbo Adebunmi to give us some brief on his his perspective on digital trust. What do you think digital trust means to us in Africa, and how can we foster that in the way we interact and transact in the cyberspace? Okay, I would like Dr. Adebunmi to take that. Dr. Adebunmi, I'm sorry, Akinbo Adebunmi, right? Are you happy to
Thank you.
kick us off? Right, thank you.
Thank you so much for starting off with the word digital trust in Africa. Apparently, the cyberspace has we assume that we have enough people when it comes to cybersecurity issues. Especially, we also assume that we have enough tech people in Africa. From the perspective of DNS Africa and my personal perspective, we do not have enough. We do not have enough people. The domain system is, of course, the Internet Phone Book, which translates website names into IP addresses. However, the DNS is compromised by cyber criminals who can redirect users to malicious websites. And fortunately, some countries have decided to lay a strong foundation for digital trust. Digital trust itself is built on the confidence that digital systems and organization will protect people's personal data. And this can only be driven by what you can call transparency and also legislation when it comes to different policy. This brings me to the issue of discussion over the years by different countries in Africa, and probably answer your question on what is digital trust. And without taking too much of our time, I will be going into what you can call a descriptive explanation, because I'm so sorry. This is supposed to be a panel discussion, not a lecture. So I couldn't get, what do you call it now, a slide ready for that. And digital trust, like I mentioned earlier on, is the confidence that the users would actually have in whatever you are putting in when it comes to integrity, security, privacy, and reliability of technology systems. And when we're saying digital services and, those that provide them, the ISPs, the MNO, whichever platform that is providing the user, the end user, such a channel to use. There are some key components of digital trust we also need to break down, because digital trust is built upon several interconnected elements that an organization must consistently demonstrate. And if you look at some countries in Africa, we are still challenged, either because of legislation, like I mentioned earlier on, or basically because our democracies do not provide a platform for transparency. So what are the key components of digital trust? I would not, like I said, I would not want to take too much of our time, but these are very cogent information or issues that we already know. When it comes to security and reliability, the assurance that the systems are protected from cyber threats or breaches or acts are not consistently available. They are not consistently available. So, and the functionality, while it differs from country to country, if I should take Nigeria, for example, we are still on the verge of like a 35%, which is good, but not a totality when it comes to Africa. Another key component that we need to understand about digital trust is privacy and control. These are commitments to protecting personal data. There are so many in the news. I do not want to compromise any commission so far that has been accused of not being strong enough to protect the data of its people. But digital trust states that you should be able to reflect digital interactions, transactions, data handling can be safe, can be ethical, can perform as expected. And we're in a world where things are changing. 1 minute ago, you were thinking X1. The next minute, we are upgrading to X5. And it is crucial for business to maintain customer loyalty, ensure regulatory compliance, and drive innovation.
Thank you.
So when it comes to
so much. Thank you so much, Dr.
Yeah.
Akinbo. I know, if we give you all the time, you will take it. Because we have 3 other panelists that are not here, so we actually have enough time to get you to make your point. But I would like to move to Mr. Wisdom Donkor, being an executive director of the Ghana Domain Name Registry. The topic is about safeguarding Africa's digital space through DNS security and data protection. So I would like to ask you, before we go into the depth of that topic, so when we talk about Africa digital space, conceptually, how will you describe that? The Africa digital space. Is there a boundary to it? Is there a perimeter to it? How do you define that conceptually, Mr. Wisdom Donkor?
Yes, thank you very much. I think Africa digital space, we are growing, but then we are still very weak at the base. So in order for us to be able to speed up and then catch up, we need to do more work in terms of capacity building, in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of securing this space. We need to actually do more because now the attention is now coming on Africa, because Africa now is gearing towards kind of a sovereign state, which we must guard almost everything that we do with regards to our data. And as I speak, most of our data is still residing outside the shores of Africa. And then we need to actually look into that and begin to do things internally to make sure that we secure ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So, as a follow-up question, what are the specific governance systems you have put in place for DNS security, using Ghana as a case study, that other countries in Africa may be able to learn from or benefit from?
Yes, thank you again. We are stepping into an accelerated future of a digital Africa. And I would say that a future that will be powered by economic growth and social innovation, and then a global connection. And then, but this future rests on one non-negotiable foundation, and that foundation is called trust. Without trust, citizens will not transact online, do business will not invest, government itself cannot deliver services effectively. In today, I'll be unpacking several of these as we dive into the discussion. But then I'll say that even looking at the African situation, what we went through and all of that, and then looking at our various countries, and then taking the case of Ghana, I mean, we still have much more to do with regards to what the DNS, securing our DNS space. And that we still have more to do in that regard to gain that sovereignty that we all talking about.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. I'll go back to Dr. Akinbo. Dr. Akinbo, what are the recommendations that you Mr. Wisdom Donkor said about still having a lot of grounds to cover, in getting to where we ought to be. So I would like to ask you, what are your recommendations for enhancing the DNS ecosystem management and security communication or thereof?
Okay. So I missed you somewhere, but I know you are saying what are the recommendations for solutions to our present dilemma in Africa, right?
Yeah. So if you had Mr. Wisdom, he said that we still have a long way to go. For example, in achieving the sovereignty that we need around the way our DNS system is governed and all of that. So also, I want you to link that to profile some solutions and then link that to how we might improve the communications systems around the entire ecosystem of DNS management.
Okay, so you used a strong word that we need to underline. You used the word accelerated. And, often when we talk about local content, we forget the aspect of understanding that in the IT ecosystem, there are certain things we do not need to reinvent. We do not need to reinvent them. All we need to do is study and affirm, is it across border good best practice for us in Africa? If the answer is yes, then we go ahead with it. Take, for example, the legislation on having a patch when it comes to data privacy. 36 out of 54 countries in Africa has already accelerated the enactment of their data privacy entity or commission or channel. For example, Nigeria has what you call the NDPA. South Africa has what you call the POPIA, which is POPIA. These are ways of harmonizing what we have across a borderless Africa. That is another discussion. I think we should have a borderless Africa where what works in Nigeria also works in Rwanda. And we have the African Union Malabo Convention that already states, gives us a roadmap on cybersecurity and personal data protection. It is high time we begin to follow it. I mentioned something about public trust apart from data trust, and which is the issue of accountability. If only, or peradventure, AfICTA can go ahead to do a roadmap that says, okay, let's bring all businesses together to do a privacy by design. Privacy by design. And we will speak to government and all agents, sorry, let me not use agencies, stakeholders that are concerned with cybersecurity in Africa. It will give us a strong mechanism to ensure that we rebuild the trust that we are already feeling or have a feel that is not rising up. This can build our trust. And then, because of my time, I was trying to take advantage that we are 2 instead of 5. So, and I was also looking at the fact that probably those who are listening to us may be undergoing translation. So I'm trying to reduce my speed. But organizations operating across Africa must adopt a proactive multi-jurisdictional compliance strategy to ensure that we invest in data governance and to ensure we meet various local requirements. Having said all of that, a lot of noise has been made on the issue of Afinic, and the question for some of us is, should a country determine the fate of a continent when it comes to IP protection, IP values? We should also be able to say, as a people, what can be done to ensure a solution is given? There's a national discussion on what you call, I'm trying to wrap up here now, on DNSSEC. What are we doing about DNSSEC? Country code top level domains registered across Africa. How are we trying to protect that particular space? And this is a space we cannot go alone. 4 years ago, I initiated the Nigerian DNS Forum. And the first thing we did was start an academy, DNS Africa Academy, and then we domesticated it in Nigeria, the Nigerian DNS Academy. And we had ICANN come back to us to try to help us understand how businesses can be able to make business out of DNSSEC, which is part of securing Africa. I hope this will answer the question and probably, initiate more actions from us. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Akinbo. Yeah, you have touched on some of the issues, and that you mentioned passionately why we need to take DNSSEC very seriously. So I would like to go to Mr. Wisdom, whose leadership is in that area, to share some best practices, some strategic roadmaps, around these good practices and emerging technologies around DNS security, that he has been able to implement, or that he has an implementation roadmap for, that he would like to share with the team. So, Mr. Wisdom, are you able to share with us some of your good works and some of your proposition around DNSSEC, from Ghana perspective?
Yeah, thank you very much. But before I come to that, let me just say lay a few foundation.
Okay.
So the question is why the DNS Africa is critical. It's a critical digital infrastructure. Okay, so we often say that the DNS is the phone book of the internet. Fortifying the DNS is our collective responsibility. We need to collaborate. At the Ghana Domain Name Registry, we are moving beyond simply registering names to actively. Strategy is to build on 3 pillars. The first one is the mandatory DNSSEC deployment for all .gh domains. So that is number one. The second one is promoting a zero trust model for domain registrants. And then we are implementing stricter know your customer and then validating processes. So an anonymous domain is a weapon in the hands of what cyber criminal that we all know. We must ensure that every domain has a verified owner accountable for its use. So the third one is fostering a cross-border DNS security collaboration. So we need to collaborate on this more, looking at the various sets that we have across the SOC that we have and all of that. We need to actually collaborate and then share information. And then the second strategy is championing data protection as a competitive advantage. So this is where we also collaborate more with the Data Protection Commission and other relevant institutions that are that do more work on data and all of that. So we are collaborating on this direction as well, and then also aligning with the continental and then global framework. We all know about the Malabo Convention that Doc did mention. So it's like we have enough guiding documents around that we can use to guide ourselves and collaborate and build into the future. So the other one is capacity building that we all talk about all the time. Data sovereignty and digital public infrastructure. As we build our digital public infrastructure, as called in the who is plus 20 outcome, we must ensure that citizens.
We are losing you. Okay. Are you back?
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are back. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the third of the strategy 2, we are also looking at data sovereignty and digital public infrastructure. So with this, am I still heard?
Yes, yeah, you're online, sir.
So as we build our digital public infrastructure, as called in the who is plus 20 outcome, we must ensure that citizens that is stored and processed with the highest standard of security and under our own legal jurisdiction. This is not about isolation. It is about a responsible stewardship and preventing external exploitation. So we have much more work to do in this regard. And then our strategy 3 is the power of multi-stakeholder. We've all been talking about this. Looking at the who is plus 20 document, we just reaffirm this. So no single entity can do this. So we need to come together and then solve this problem. So in a nutshell, I said that our call to action at the Ghana Domain Name Registry is to somehow formalize these partnerships and then create an African alliance for DNS security and data protection. We need to do this collaborative platform for sharing threat intelligence, best practices, and driving a continent-wide cybersecurity agenda. There's one other key thing that we also need to look out for. We are all now having these cybersecurity authorities in our various countries. And then, we talk about the DNS, the registries. The registries is for everyone. And now we also have to look at the cybersecurity and then draw the line so that their laws, they know where their mandate ends and where maybe the mandate of what also begins. Because we are seeing that if care is not taken, the cybersecurity authorities that we are having or that we see coming up, implementing laws and all of that to kind of take ownership of the digital infrastructure, and then coming up with laws that doesn't even favor citizens. Our attention have to begin to go into those directions as well, so that whatever laws that we are coming up with favors the vast majority that we are serving. Well, these platforms is there to serve the public. This platform should be seen as sort of not serving only individuals. Specifically, let me use politicians and then some other interested people. Not all politicians do. Some politicians who must win elections at all costs, and they might go to any length to make sure that everything favors them. So we have to begin to look at this and then begin to draw the line. If, for example, if I'm running a registry and then a cybersecurity authority comes to you and then gives you an order, shut down this domain name, shut down that domain name, and all of that, that we see coming. And then we've been getting some of this notification and some of this from cybersecurity authorities calling you to shut down specific domain names without even explaining actually what the issues are. Because if someone is, or let's say a citizen is using the platform to do maybe a media work or so, media work, they have the liberty to talk about issues, to help inform the public on information. And if that information doesn't favor someone, then they go through that route to shut down. So we have to begin to look at all of this and then try to address them before we get to a situation, or before we get to a time that will be difficult to manage. So I just wanted to bring this to bear so that it will be at the back of our mind. Whenever we are discussing DNS security and all of that, then we have to try to draw those lines. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's very insightful. I've learned a lot, from what you have said, especially about the challenges, So typical African challenge, political interference in what you do, which, can begin to erode trust, even in what we are trying to promote. Because someone may say, okay, I don't want to register with you because I don't want to be exposed to your political risks. And that will not promote the sovereignty that we're trying to achieve, and data residency we are trying to achieve, and all of that. So I like also the fact that you have a strategic roadmap for enhancing the maturity of what you do, particularly around enforcing mandatory DNSSEC. Okay, that is very fantastic, because prevention is always cheaper and better than cure. You also talked about promoting zero trust for domain registrars. That's a fantastic idea, but it's as good as to the extent to which you enforce that. And of course, the KYC validation, these are basic processes that should be in place, right? Know your customers, ensuring that people are who they claim to be, and there's limited or no anonymity, no encouraged. You also mentioned the issue of cross-border DNS collaboration. We're talking about Africa. You reference frameworks that we can all benefit from if we just look into it and begin to implement what is in those frameworks, like the Malabu Convention documents, so which aligns with global frameworks. You talked about your philosophy around your DNS services, that you are not just about having a phone book for the internet, but a means of digital protection as a competitive advantage for the country. It's also a route for trust, the means for trust. And so these are very insightful philosophy and foundational principles that we can all adopt all over Africa. And like a mentor of mine used to say, that good practices are as good as those who practice them. So we know what to do now. We are blessed if we do them. So I would like to use this opportunity to is also an expert in this area to intervene. Would you like to contribute to the questions I asked Mr. Wisdom? Uncle, Dr. Jimson, are you available to make your contributions? Then I'll go back to Dr. Akinbo to talk about global privacy models, for African context. And the reason why I'm asking Dr. Akinbo that question is because he said that so much about local context. But if something is already working, why are we reinventing the wheel? And I agree with you. Sometimes we have this fault, but that is not. We are part of humanity, and everything that humanity has developed is ours. The fact that it didn't originate from here doesn't mean we can't own it. So for me, that's my belief that it doesn't mean that whatever doesn't comes from there is superior, but we have to be willing to build on whatever has been built, and then we get better. We stand on the shoulders of giants so that we can see further, like Isaac Newton said. So Dr. Jimson Olufuye, and then I'll come back to Dr. Akinbo. I hope I've given Dr. Akinbo enough time to gather his thoughts. All right, so Dr. Olufuye, please, your intervention is welcome now.
Thank you very much. The lead consultant, practice lead at Afenoid, chairman of Afenoid, Mr. Opeyemi Onifade, treasurer of the AfricaCommunity Alliance and distinguished board member and ICT champion as well. And fellow panelists, greetings. I want to appreciate Wisdom, Dr. Akinbo, for those wonderful presentation and discussion. Yeah, I could see Professor Nana Wakama, Deputy Chair. Greeting to everyone. It is a very interesting topic. We're talking about trust in Africa. Of course, a lot have been shared. Excellent discussion so far. There's no point in reinventing the wheel. Even as much as we look at the global perspective, it's a serious thing around the world, and a lot of intervention has been done around the world. So there's nothing wrong if we adapt a lot locally. But specifically, let me define some things. When you talk about trust, it's a weighty word, actually, because it means a firm belief in the reliability or truth. Somebody said, I will keep your data. I will protect your data in my system. And you see a lot of breaches. So can we say trust is breached? Yes. So how much trust can we now give? So it's a real challenge. It's a real challenge, and we have moved online, and there's no going back. So this has to be strengthened, and this calls for us, professionals, to really up our games and to do our best with regard to maturity. With regard to DNS, which is kind of a foundation, as Dr. Akinbo and Mr. Wisdom mentioned, DNS is very key because without that underlying infrastructure, we will not have the internet as we have it. And that's why we commend the work of ICANN, and we are proud that AfICTA is also part of the ICANN community, strengthening the DNS ecosystem policy development around the world, and also overseeing the management of the IANA function of ICANN. So a key point to securing DNS, of course, has been mentioned, DNSSEC. Yes, progress has been made with regard to the installation or the onboarding of DNSSEC. I could recall in 2013, we organized the first DNSSEC workshop in Nigeria in collaboration with NIRA and other stakeholders. And ICANN has been doing a lot of roadshows. So about 154 countries or CCTLD and other GTLD have onboarded DNSSEC around the world. But the onboarding rate is still low in Africa. I think about 45%. I think Nigeria is already wrapping up their own DNSSEC installation. I think it should have been finalized now. I think Ghana, from what Mr. Wisdom said, they're already on the road to finalizing DS2. So all the GTLDs and the CCTLDs need to be secured. And of course, we know the need for other security framework, like the extended validation, SSL, encryption, even on domain systems, very, very important. So it's possible to secure these systems, but we just need to onboard the right personnel, the right channel, and the right policy to handle this. As I mentioned, the United Nations takes cybersecurity very seriously, not just cybersecurity, ICT security generally. In fact, it's part of the action line C5 of the WSIS plus 20 review we are doing right now. And there have been a lot of talk about it, especially in the age of AI, security of the AI, even the security of data as well. It must serve our needs. And transparency is very important. Yes, it has been mentioned. And I think our system of governance encourages this, and it should be strengthened. That's democracy, for that matter. So we need a kind of a check and balance system to sustain it, not a direct top-bottom, not top-bottom management, bottom-up. And that is the ICANN model of multi-stakeholder engagement, bottom-up. So there has to be bottom-up engagement, not a top-down, not any overruling president or chairman directing that this is what must be done. It must be based on consensus. ICANN is a role model on consensus building, so we must use this best practice. The next Mundia plus 10 statement made it clear that we must bring every stakeholder on board to discuss this. And I appreciate that some agencies are even taking this very, very seriously, their mandate. In Nigeria, we have NCC, NIDA, NIRA. They are doing a lot to sensitize the people. Awareness is very important. I think it was Monday, Nigeria had a public hearing on a long-awaited digital economy bill in the parliament. Nigeria lead for that at least contribution. So we need to engage. And I want to appreciate all the people that are making it possible for us to have the summit every time. We need to continue to discuss. We cannot stop discussing. We cannot stop ruminating and brainstorming on this. In fact, we're going to discuss it too at the next United Nations General Assembly, as I mentioned yesterday, in New York, December 15. So together, discuss a digital cooperation, and the need to build that digital trust is very important. This is the way to go. And finally, on this note, I've mentioned the solution we have also brought on the table. We can actually evolve some things in our part of the world. I appreciate the effort of Mr. Onifade. We are proud of your work in AfICTA. You are a lead there. You are a shining light. We appreciate it, and we want more people to emulate what you're doing. So, good product from Global South, from Africa in particular. And specifically, there is a solution we have come up with, that is the tripod cybersecurity maturity model, which I, in particular, came up with this idea to make it possible and easy for any enterprise, for any organization, for any countries to check their cybersecurity maturity, check the degree of trust people can have on your infrastructure. So you can use it. It's freely available right now. All the ones available, they are not free. You can easily access them. You have to pay heavily. But this one is free. You can use it for now. So those are kind of the contribution we want from the Global South. We have the capability. We have the ability to evolve. And we can evolve through our own local experiences that we can even export around the world. And I'm proud to say that even this solution has been used by some stakeholders in the US, in Brazil, in Mexico, and in the EU. And they got excellent comparative results to the global standard with the DCI, the ITU DCI. So on this note, I want to say thank you for listening, and thanks for ICANN for their contribution and continuous support. Bobotien, thank you. So I'll stop here for now.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Olufuye, for bringing everything together. What AfICTA is doing, and how we are keen to what ICANN is doing, and also the local contributions. So you gave Nigeria as an example of how AfICTA Nigeria is engaging to promote the digital capabilities and governance in Nigeria. Okay, so thank you very much for that. So I would like to now go back to Dr. Akinbo Adebunmi. Are you ready to answer your question? Okay, so how do we leverage good practices, global best practices, right? So instead of saying, okay, let us start from scratch and invent the wheel and then not get any headway out of that. So how do we, what are the guiding principles that you want to share with us on how to go about leveraging what is already on ground and building on it to fast track and jumpstart our development?
Okay, so based on your question, I quickly did a 7 point that I'm going to share with us quickly, and also looking at time. We know that Africa is at a pivotal point, and the arrays of cyber threats is always increasing. So it is crucial for building resilient digital infrastructures. So, but before I go to those 7 points, like I mentioned, I also want to touch on the key issue that we need to pay attention to, and that's policy. That's policy development, policy recommendations for Africa. One is the political commitment to elevate cybersecurity and data protection to a top-level national and regional priority. It is very important. We must consider the African Union's digital transformation strategy. Two is investing in human capital. I was fortunate to be there in 2013 when we had the first DNSSEC training. And like I said, 3-4 years ago, DNS Africa initiated an academy, DNS Africa Academy, that domesticated what we call the Nigerian DNS Forum, using the Nigerian DNS Academy as a point of touch with businesses in Nigeria to sign the root servers, going green, the DNSSEC, so to say. And finally, when it comes to the issue of policy promoting African-led solution, of course, this led to your question of saying, what are the global practices that we can adopt from? And one of them is to develop a comprehensive national cybersecurity strategy across Africa. Many developed nations have detailed national cybersecurity strategies that outline policies, legal framework, roles of government agencies, critical infrastructure protection, and international cooperation. Don't forget that Wisdom mentioned collaboration. There is no way you collaborate that we do not cooperate. And If Africa is to learn anything, we need to move beyond ad hoc responses. So far, so good. It looks like we're just practicing ad hoc responses to actionable cybersecurity strategies. This should not be our case. We should, of course, also understand that there are also other organizations that are trying, like ECOWAS, SADC, and AU. We should look at the document that they have on ground, the projection that they have for Africa, and begin to say, moving into investing in human capital and capacity building. When it comes to global practice, you go to the US, UK, and Israel, they invest heavily in cybersecurity. They start from the primary school to university. They create special cyber defense units. They promote continuous professional development. We are still short of technicals. We still do not have enough technicals, and we need to build on it. It is a critical vulnerability across Africa. To integrate cybersecurity into educational curricula is a must. To establish specialized cybersecurity training centers and certification is a must. And partnering with global universities and tech companies to transfer knowledge and skills. There are so many countries that are talking about transfer of skills because they're working with multinationals. But unfortunately, it still does not seem visible. Developing talents in both public and private sector is a score mark to ensuring that we're trying to adopt best practice and global practice for local interventions. Another thing that has worked in some African countries, for example, there was a mention of NIRA as far back as 2013. NIRA is a public-private partnership, and it is functional, and is an example of global success. Effective cybersecurity relies on a seamless collaboration between government. You cannot work without government. It is not possible. There are so many things that government would allow us to do. Again, going back to policy and the enforcement of the law emanating from such policy. And the private sector, of course, we own and operate most of this critical infrastructure. We develop the security solutions, but that collaboration must not just be seen, it must be felt by the end user. Now, another thing that we must also learn from this, is how to engage consistently and continuously. Creating the trusted information platforms for cyber threats, incentivizing local cybersecurity innovations and solution development. This is speaking now to the local content expert within Africa, who needs to understand that collaborating on incident response and critical infrastructure protection is a way forward to reaching the mark. Again, I've mentioned issues around legal and regulatory frameworks. I've mentioned issues against issues where we call cyber diplomacy. That is also looking at how we can actively engage in bilateral and multilateral forums. Wisdom mentioned the WISIS Plus, which is ongoing at the moment. It is the way of taking our own cybersecurity norms and sharing best practices across Africa. Finally, we must cultivate a culture of cybersecurity awareness, especially in Africa. Minor issues around phishing, malwares, a strong password, multi-factor authentications are still very far from us. And to cap it all, understanding the shift from preventing all attacks, which is impossible, but to build resilience frameworks or dashboards that allow us to quickly respond to cyber incidents. This is a lesson that would allow Africa to build what you can call a robust incident response plan and capability. Don't forget, for another day, capacity is different from the framework. You must ensure that we plan ahead on backups. We must consider regular security audits, which I doubt if the average African is taking into consensus. We have experts in Africa who actually can deal with what you call security audits, penetration testing, and because it is AfICTA, we're on AfICTA. Business continuity planning to minimize disruption from attack is a key product to the solution at hand. I believe that by diligently adopting and adapting these best practices, African nations can significantly enhance its cybersecurity posture, protect their digital assets, and ensure that the digital revolution truly benefits all their citizens. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So I strongly align with your submission. As part of what I do daily is to help organizations to adopt and adapt frameworks like ISO 27001, PCI DSS, Payment Card Industry Data Security Standards, need cybersecurity frameworks, could be for IT governance. So the books have been written, but like the insult that has been perpetuated about us, that if you want to hide something from an African, the safest place to hide it is inside a book, because it's not going to get to it, right? So we need to change that narrative, because the books are written already, and we need to learn how to use them. The solutions are there, but the question is whether we're going to implement, right? All the workshops, all the talk shops need to become workshops, right? We need to put it to work, because nothing works without a worker. I can read what Professor Nena sharing here, that thanks Akinbo for bringing in the investment perspective. In technology, we don't do raw talents alone. People need to be trained, recubed, and given the agency. Competency is built, not prayed for, right? So I like to say behind everything that works, there is a worker, right? So we need to ensure that we work out what we actually want to see, work out our vision, get our hands dirty. And the best way, the easiest way to fast track this is take the standards and begin to adopt them and then adapt them. That means that you make them fit for your use, make them fit for your purpose. Thank you very much for that. I think we have we have just about 12 minutes to go. Mr. Peter Akinremi is the CEO of Compsoftnet Technologies Ltd. And I would like to, just to take advantage of your presence to help to maybe contribute to the concept around capacity building. Do you think that, we've talked about the importance of that, capacity building, competency development? What do you think we are doing well, and what are we not doing well when it comes to capacity building? Are we doing the right things, or are we setting up ourselves to successfully doing well? So are we getting the right training done? Are we doing them well? Are we getting the value? Are we delivering to the stakeholders? Are we getting the value out of all these so many capacity building? Do we have the right curriculum? Do we have the right target audience? Are we teaching the right things? So what would you like to say? I don't want to preempt you, Mr. Peter Akinremi, to that. So as we now, after your contribution, we'll open the floor for contributions from anyone. If you have something to say or to add to this contribution, please just raise your virtual hand, your virtual finger, and then I will call upon you to make your contribution. Over to you, Mr. Peter Akinremi.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Opeyemi, and my apology for coming in late. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that wonderful question. With regards to capacity building, whether we're doing the right thing or not, I would say we need to have a mindset shift in capacity building when it comes to how we train in Africa. In terms of, talent, we have that in abundance in Africa, but we need to be able to adapt whatever curriculum or whatever standard we are applying. And one of the things in my research and I have observed is that even the so-called West are still even struggling in terms of um, training, in terms of building their skill gap. The same thing, we need to learn from, from the West and from people that have gone ahead of us, but not that we need to blindly learn. We need to learn and adapt that to our system. And one of the things, when I said mindset shift, is that we need to look at, in terms of our policy, our governance. We need to look at it in terms of our technical capability. When securing the internet phone book, we need, two part. The first part is the technical part. The second part is the regulatory part, the governance part. When it comes to, the data protections, when it comes to our design of how to govern, the internet phone books and also critical infrastructure. We need to, like Akinbo said, that we need to start from our curriculum in school. And we need to be able to inculcate, we need to be able to raise the right talent, the right skill, in the right, what it means to Africa, because we need to define that. We don't need people to define that for us because we have the abundance. Yes, we can borrow different kind of things, but we need to come on. And when it comes to safeguarding critical infrastructure and cyberspace in Africa, we need to start looking at it in our own way. We need to bring it home and say, what does it mean to us? And one of the things I see is that we run rat race. What do I mean by that? We run based on what others have achieved and what they are telling us to do without looking at where we are, how we got there, or how we're going to get to where we need to get it. And another thing is we adapt their blueprint without thinking of where we are in infrastructure and how do we need to safeguard that. In terms of what we need to do, we need to go back to the drawing board. Yes, we're doing a lot. We've seen different, people coming up with different kind of training. There is a lot we need to do when it comes to training. We need to go to the drawing board. We need to understand what does it mean to actually safeguard African cyberspace to us, not defined by, the West or, other regions or imposing on us. Because when it comes to cyberspace, I define it as a supply chain ecosystem. Everything is integrated, everything is interwoven. But when it comes to the West, we define this is what we have, and this is what we need to do, and this sticks to that. But when it comes to Africa, when it comes to, securing our own infrastructure, we don't trust our own inner ability. We trust the external to secure our infrastructure. Excuse me, when the so-called cyber attack happens, then what happened? So we'll safeguard whose house? We need to think about that. The first thing is we need to identify what it is that we're training. And do we really understand what we are defending? And how does it mean to us? I am sorry to say, I was doing a research because my research center on critical infrastructure. And we were to partner or we were to do a research with an institute. And they told us that because we do not have some certain criteria, we cannot join the research. And as a result, we're unable to do because they are protecting their confidentiality and whatever it is that they're processing, they're protecting. The same thing in Africa. We need to do the same. We need to know what it is that we're protecting. Even if it's not that, it doesn't really like matter to other people. It matters to us. The first thing is we need to define that we need to set a pace, we need to set the standard, we need to start putting mechanism in place in terms of changing our curriculum. How serious are we when it comes to training our people? And I do hear that, most of these things are now created the value to it. Because if you create something, you know how to do it. And that is why in the slide I presented, I say there is two paths in securing this. And that two path, the first path is when it comes to, the securing the technology, the perimeter itself, when you're talking about the hands-on. And the second part talks about the governance aspect when it comes to harmonization of policy. Even the sole policy that we have in Africa, it's a copycat. Do we develop them by ourselves? If we develop them, then we'll be able to train in the right way. And now is a time for us because the world is not waiting. The world is not waiting. The train is moving. We need to be able to define this. We need to be able to identify. Now, all my research has been looking at, threat actors to critical infrastructure. Even
I have to cut you now, Mr. I'm really enjoying the conversation. Unfortunately,
okay, so
we didn't have you in on time, and we have just 3 minutes to go, and people are
my
raising their
apology for that. Yeah.
they want to also make some contributions, but you are saying some very important things around looking inwards. Do we even know? I mean, there's a saying that until a problem is properly defined, no solution for it can be found. So have we properly defined our cybersecurity problems? Or we have solutions that are looking for problems? Because I see a lot of projects we have done, we don't even know sometimes why we have done the project, and what value the project is supposed to deliver to us. So you see a lot of solutions, cybersecurity solutions, are looking for problems. Somebody has sold it, made money out of it, but you have not been able to capture any value for your African business because you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so thanks, Mr. Akinremi. I don't want to be bad from moderating next time because I didn't respect people's time. So I have ADV's hands on. Somebody's if you want to contribute now, so Nandifa Saluba is a question, is a contribution. Please go ahead and have the floor. So Mr. Peter is here to answer you. Mr. Wisdom is here to answer you. Dr. Adebunmi is here to answer you. So please go ahead as we quickly. Saluba, are you there? You may unmute yourself and get online. Nandifa Saluba, we can't hear you.
She is not promoted. I don't think she'll be able to have a mic on. And actually, time is off, actually. So you might need to send a message. You might send a message for response later.
Yeah, so we can't hear you. So if you can send your message, I will read it out to everyone. Okay. Otherwise, so I would just like to have final thoughts, right? My session is supposed to be for 1 hour, 15 minutes, but Shegun took some of my time, so I'll take back my time. All right, 3 minutes. All right, so just final thoughts. I would like Mr. Wisdom Donkor, just 1 minute. Your final thoughts, things we are not able to extract from you that you believe you must say.
Thank you very much. I think one other thing that we also need to be looking at is the internet exchange point. In order for us to kind of reduce the cost of the internet access within the continent, we need to look at the internet exchange point and maybe promote to promote a regional integration a kind of maybe a Pan-African internet exchange point where national ISPs forming a continental interconnection fabric so that we can have our activities within the continent, and also at the national level, we should have this internet exchange point to promote local access and all of that. And then one other thing that I would say is that for us at the Ghana Domain Name Registry, we are looking at zero rating all government platforms through an internet exchange point locally, so that government services will be accessible to all citizens within the country. So if we're able to do it and then have the African, Pan-African internet exchange from maybe through the African Union or whichever body, will help us largely retain most of our data within the country, do business within ourselves, within the country, and all that. So that is the last thing that I want to add.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wisdom Donkor, for sharing from your wealth of experience. It's been a very insightful contribution from you. Dr. Adebunmi Akinbo, your final word in 30 seconds to 45 seconds.
10 seconds, 45 seconds, 5 seconds already gone. I said something in the chat room. Mr. Opeyemi Onifade is a solution in himself. He knows what I'm saying. So please be on the lookout for him. I'm moving from him to my remaining 30 seconds or 25 seconds. Culturally relevant awareness campaign needs to go out and to ensure that we educate our young people, starting from the grassroots. This is a low-level general cybersecurity awareness strategy that I believe can help develop its basic cyber hygiene into school curricula. If we start from catching them very young, we will remove the secret from the book and expose it before they get to our stage. It may look like a long term, but it's a low-hanging fruit that can help us if government and with private entities go into ensuring that we put out all our effort to groom the next generation. This generation can still make it happen, but the next generation must be prepared, considering that we now have artificial intelligence and the ethics behind it to look at and to contest it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akinbo, for the kind words that you have shared about me. And I would like to hear finally from Mr. Akinremi Taiwo Peter, just your final words, about our topic of today. Are you there, Mr. Peter?
Yes.
All right, please go ahead.
So for me, I will focus, because a lot has been said. I'll focus on how to strengthen our cyberspace through a strategic focus that combine a strategic investment and harmonization of regulatory landscape, and as well as capacity building that focus on African identity, what it is that we stand for and what we want to